Connor, thanks. It is 6:33. The back and forth on tariffs we have seen during President Trump's first 100 days is expected to impact our economy far beyond just how much we pay for things at the store. Economists and businesses connected to local ports are bracing for a wild ride, too.
We have tariffs and we have uncertainty. And when you mix the two, you have volatility.
That's Dr. Bob McNabb, chair of the economics department at Norfolk's Old Dominion University. His office is a stone's throw from the bustling Port of Virginia, one of the main pillars of the economy in this part of the state.
We don't know what's going to be the ultimate impact of tariffs through the port, which account for tens of thousands of jobs across the Commonwealth.
That's a large-scale view, but everyday people like you and me, we could start to feel the pinch soon.
If you start reducing the supplies coming into the United States, in 2 or 3 months, it's going to manifest in shortages on the shelves.
McNabb's already seeing the tariff toll on trade. Imports to the U.S. were down 64% at the beginning of April compared to the last week of March. Why is that significant? Well, think back a few years.
Remember the spring of 2020 when people couldn't find toilet paper? Now imagine we face a 2/3 decline in imports from China. Electronics, cars, toys.
That also leads to higher prices for shoppers and headaches for companies connected to ports. Rachel Shames is a VP with CV International, a company that coordinates shipments worldwide.
I think there could be a boost from the other origins, but with the China freight being down, it could end up being a wash.
Shames explains a major factor in how ports will be impacted depends on how long the companies they work with can stomach the higher cost of doing business.
You know, I think as long as these tariffs are in play, especially these, extremely high tariffs, I would say it's certainly likely that there will be some lower volumes coming through ports.
Though there may be hope on the horizon. In recent days, President Trump has hinted he's open to softening the 145% tariffs on China, though that's no guarantee, and time is money. Dr. McNabb believes the longer the clock ticks,
it would be extremely disruptive not only to the port, but the local economy as well.
The bigger the pinch to our pocketbooks. Blaine Stewart, Scripps News Group, Norfolk, Virginia.
And on the subject of tariffs, new this morning, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says a deal has been reached with automakers to start to ease some of those tariffs. However, there has not been any actual detail of a possible deal in that statement. Wall Street Journal reports the president is set to announce a new tariff structure for cars that avoids stacking them. Currently, there's a 25% tariff on almost all imported cars, as well as a 25% tariff on steel, aluminum, and those are two metals that are heavily used in auto production.
And Blaine, on the topic, according to new poll numbers, many across the nation are beginning to sour on the president's economic policies. Just 42% of people approve of the way President Trump is handling the economy. That number was about 50% at the start of March. And nearly half of the country believe that they are worse off. This despite inflation and mortgage rates staying relatively stable.
So what this tells me is the uncertainty of tariffs. That's really more where people are focusing on, and that's reflecting in how they feel.
And you can see the uncertainty play out on Wall Street as well. Markets have tumbled and skyrocketed back up, depending on the recent updates regarding tariffs. Consumer sentiment has also fallen four straight months, with confidence in the economy dropping 32% since January.
Another story that has also dominated headlines this week has been immigration policy at the White House. From the story, the man who the White House admitted was wrongfully deported to revoking student visas and sending people, American citizens and others, to a prison in El Salvador. However, a promise made during the campaign to carry out mass deportations that has proved difficult for the White House, as Scripps News Group's Patrick Terpstra explains.
It's going to be called a Trump mass deportation.
It's a pledge President Trump and his allies made time and again to cast out many of the nation's 11 million undocumented immigrants.
We will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
I will run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
In his first 100 days, Trump led an immigration enforcement effort designed to shock and awe. ICE raids with the Homeland Security Secretary.
We are getting the dirtbags off these streets.
More armed forces deployed to the border. military planes ferrying away immigrants, and alleged gang members sent to a terrorism prison in El Salvador. Early on, the Trump administration touted the number of arrests they were making, but did not offer detailed deportation figures. Deep inside a spreadsheet ICE is required by law to keep updated is the total number of ICE removals this fiscal year. A group at Syracuse University that analyzes immigration stats tracked how this deportation number has changed since Trump took office, finding fewer immigrants being removed from the country compared to the Biden administration.
They're lower. Their daily average is simply 10% lower. Frankly, I was shocked.
The White House tells us because border crossings are down, so are deportations, an argument Trump's border czar Tom Homan also makes.
We secure the border. We're down the border crossing 96%, so we don't have millions of people coming across the border. To compare our removal numbers to his is just ridiculous.
Homan also told the New York Times we need to increase the arrests, and they're not high enough. As for deportations, so far nowhere near what it will take for Trump to achieve his promise of sweeping millions of migrants out of the country. Patrick Terps for Scripps News Group, Washington.